Hello and welcome to Jubilife City Radio. My name's Freaking Chocolate and I'm joined by the one and only Coco for days. Brother, how you doing?
I'm going good. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Once again, working from home on a Wednesday. It's the dream. It definitely is the dream.
Yes.
Just because like that midweek portion, you kind of need to.
I feel you there.
Yeah. Do you have admin days?
Yeah, Monday's my admin day, so I don't always get the luxury of working from home. It's on the odd occasion, like say in a couple of weeks, where I've got a day or afternoon where I need to be on the Sunshine Coast. So I'll be able to do a little bit of admin from home in the morning and then head up that way. But
yeah, gotcha. Nah, that's fair. Can't have them all, unfortunately.
I wish I can.
I would like to do more days from home, but at the moment I can't justify it. I just have too much to do in the office.
Yeah, that's fair.
The people in there miss me. Every time I come back in on Thursday, I'm like, my desk is just like full of people's crap with like sticky notes on it saying, "This is broken. Can you fix this? Why is this doing this?"
Yeah, wow.
I'm like, I mean, this could have been an email.
Yeah. See,
this could have been an email.
For me, I think we've spoken about it off recording. Yeah. I have quite a big sales target for the next financial year.
Yeah.
It's been increased. Let's put it that way. So, I went to Perth last week and I was able to secure 1 million of that portion.
Very good.
So I just got to find another 8.
Another 8 mil. You'll be right. You'll get it.
Yes, I will find it. Find it, even if I got to pull it out of the ground.
Yeah. I mean, you're not doing potatoes anymore, so you have to find it on the land.
That's all right. I'll just buy some top quality Wagyu and import my own Kobe beef, and then have Kawagyu.
Kawagyu. Breed the cows.
Breed them.
Nah, that's awesome. How's your week been, though?
Yeah, I don't actually remember much. It's been that busy. Like I've just been, flat out. Absolutely flat out. I know I made an announcement in Discord. I'm sort of changing my content up a little bit. Not that it's going to affect what we do here. It's more of so I can still enjoy Pokemon sort of change.
Yeah. Cut back on a little bit so you can still appreciate what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And Pokerogue is all I need right now.
That's
good. I am popping off with shinies on that. So my plane flight I spent 10 hours in total on the plane there and back. In the 10 hours of flying, I found something like 13 shinies.
Jeez. Wait.
I know.
How do you... Did the plane have Wi-Fi? How do you Pokerogue on the plane?
It had Wi-Fi. It was so good.
Nice.
So I listened to Bad Friends and a couple of other potties.
Very good.
Yeah. How about you? How's your week been?
My week's been great. I think I spoke about it last time on the podcast. I've been focusing on my health quite a bit, and things are going well for me at the moment in that regard. And this week specifically, I've been listening to some health related podcasts and talking to my boss and stuff. And as of this morning, basically, or last night, I set myself the goal to be in bed by 10:30, so I can get up earlier and be a morning gym person rather than a night gym person. As much as I love doing it at nighttime, it's just healthier to do it in the morning.
It refreshes
or people say anyway.
Yeah, well, the science behind it is people that go to the gym in the morning are 90% more happier during the day, and they also are more productive on top of it as well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And there's like also stuff like seeing the sunrise and having, because like the UV rays are like better for you in the morning sunlight rather than the later sunlight. And
It's like when you put kids to bed, you have that red light. It produces melatonin. I think it's the melatonin that's good for our bodies.
yeah, and even like looking at fire before going to bed, it's I don't know, it's
Really?
super strange.
Fire?
Yeah, like a fireplace fire, not like
Yeah, wow.
a house burning down fire.
Go,
Or like-
Charizard! Burn that house down.
Yeah, just like watching a GIF of Charizard dancing as you fall asleep. You know the one where he's just like shaking his butt. Yeah. That's what I had in my head.
I had that on a dance cam screen when I first started streaming.
Oh, nice.
I had
That's
a
nice.
Pon Channel Point dance, a Channel Point Redemption.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Dance Cam, Charizard, Link, Pikachu.
Nah, that's sick. That's sick. Well, we do have a guest coming with us in a moment. So what we'll do is we'll take a brief transition, and next thing you know, our guest will be here. And we're back from our transition, and we are joined by our special guest, hailing from the Great White North. He is the king of Wartortle Gaming, Mr. TayOpkMn. How you doing?
Doing well, guys. Good to be here.
Thank you
That's
for
awesome.
joining us.
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
How like I just want to get straight into it straight away. Canada right now, is it summer or is it winter?
Summer.
Summer,
Well, like
and
the end
what's-
of spring, start of summer.
okay, and what's the temp like?
It's like I live in a valley, so I live in Whistler, British Columbia, which is a ski
Okay.
town just north of Vancouver.
Yeah.
And it's in the valleys of the mountains. So if a breeze blows through, it can change the weather day to day. It's like I lived in Australia for a little bit. It reminds me a lot of like Melbourne.
Ah,
Where it's like
yes.
like you can get like a warm day and a cold day kind of in the same day.
Yeah.
So that's where I live. There's glaciers around me, so the air's always kind of cool.
Yeah, okay.
So that explains the Wartortle gaming then.
No, that's legitimate my favorite Pokemon. I'm from Montreal originally, so I'm from the French part of Canada, the far east coast. So I live very far away from it. It was like kind of living in Sydney and you're from Perth kind of thing, or the other way around rather.
Yeah.
I
I was in Perth last week, actually.
Yeah, no, I've been there too. I lived 2 years in Australia. I love it. Put the hat on for you guys. Do the adventure head in my stream.
Oh yeah, he's
Beautiful.
got the accent too. Let's go.
Love it. Love it.
I thought I'd go for a bit of a winter vibe for you. Being
Appreciate it.
it's generally quite cold up there.
It's winter for you guys, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Is that snow in the background, Coco?
This is my green screen effect. So I've got a fireplace and everything. But yeah, so I've got snow sort of dropping in the background of the green screen to
You guys get a bit of it. Is it Perisher Mountain?
yeah. So
in Australia?
Blue Mountains, we get a little bit there. Perisher
Yeah.
Blue, I think, is around that area. It might be the resort. I'm not too familiar. Melbourne in the sort of northern part gets a bit of snow too.
Nice.
Um,
It looks sick, the green screen. I was like, what the?
It's a good green screen if it's like that.
Brisbane's not that fortunate to get snow. We're a bit too warm.
Yeah, I don't think it snowed north of the New South Wales border for something like 30 years.
Stanthorpe had it. They got to -6 the other day. It was like frost covered, not snow, but frost. Close enough.
There you go.
Beautiful
Not
photos.
Got
Yeah, it
friggin'
would've been-
penguins down in Melbourne and stuff too. I saw those.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's wintry.
yeah.
Where are you guys from?
We are in Queensland,
Brisbane?
Yeah,
Queensland?
Brisbane.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
so just around the Brisbane area. And like currently right now in this room, I know it's going to be in Celsius, but I'm sitting in 27 degrees,
Really?
which is quite warm.
I got
I'm from
22.
Canada. Celsius works great.
Yeah, cool. I think
don't understand
outside,
Fahrenheit for the life of me.
I think outside is probably a lot crispier.
Be about 14.
It's only 17 outside, so
It's a warm night.
that's it's a warm night.
God,
is-
It gets
crazy.
that hot here. Like north of me is the hottest place in Canada. It's called Pemberton Lillooet, and it gets like 35, pushing like 40. It's like a proper desert area.
Jeez.
Yeah, wow.
If you take like the Nevada desert and just like extend it upwards along the mountain range,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it goes up into Canada, it's still part of a desert. It's just really north and it gets crazy hot in the summer. There's like tumbleweeds blowing by. You wouldn't believe you were in Canada. Like,
Wow. Giving
it's
the
cool.
Arizona vibes.
It's kind of like Canada wine country out there. Like lots of wineries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool spot. Cool spot.
Yeah. I suppose grapes probably couldn't grow in the cold areas.
Depending on the variety, the ice wine that they tend to
Yeah.
make needs to have ice crystals growing in it when they pick it. I used to sell wine, so I know a little
Ice
bit.
crystal?
No,
Ice
he's
wine?
100% right. Like
the
I've
heck?
worked in like really fancy restaurants and like with sommeliers and stuff, and yeah, like there's all kinds of different wines from different climates. New Zealand's a good example. They grow in the colder areas.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm learning something today. How good.
So
How good.
the wines I was selling were German, and one of them it was 100. I was 90 Australian to buy at the time. 10,000 grapes to make the bottle, but they could only harvest the grape when ice crystals had formed in it, and then that's when they would press it. So it's maximum sweetness, maximum flavor.
Super tasty stuff.
Super
too. It's, like,
tasty.
super
Yeah, damn. All right.
Dessert
sweet.
only.
Nothing like that. Nothing like that goon stuff you guys have.
The goon bag.
That's
a-
from my 2 years in Australia. That goon memory burned into my brain. I actually can't look at white wine that as normal as I used to. I never tried the red goon, so red wine's still fine, but white wine, it still just reminds me of the bags and the.
Did you spin them around the clotheslines?
Oh yeah, I played all the games. We had a game in the hostel and it was called Dentist Chair, and it wasn't even really a game. It was just you sit in a chair, we put a bed sheet over you, lean you back, and just pour it in your mouth. That was the game. It was-
That's amazing. That's
put him in the
amazing.
dentist chair.
Yeah, we called the one on the clothesline was called the Goon of Fortune, I believe.
Goon of
Ah,
Fortune.
that's right. I just remember people playing at one party. I'm like, I've just finished a 13-hour shift. I'm too tired for this.
Well, it made sense when we were backpacking because it was like less than $20 for the box,
Yeah.
or you could spend like 35 on like a 12-pack or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much it was, but booze is way more expensive in Australia and smokes. But anyway,
Yeah, it's very like we tax the Alco Pops and like the premix
Yeah.
stuff. Like there's no.
we got
tomorrow.
drive-through bottle-os. That's impressive.
Yes.
That is.
At almost
Yeah.
every bottle.
Yeah, almost every bottle is drive through. You're right. You're right.
It's amazing.
Anyways, though, let's reel it back in and go to some Pokemon.
Wartortle.
Firstly, for those who don't know you, Tayo, who are you?
TayOpkMn. That's my VGC handle, I guess. I've had that handle ever since I started playing Pokemon, which was in Gen 1. So when I was like 12 years old, when it first came out.
Okay.
And it's been my email, my username for Call of Duty, you name it, TayOpkMn.
Yeah,
Been
nice.
flying with that since I was 12 years old. Right now, I'm a competitive VGC streamer. I compete in regionals as well. I've been streaming since November of last year, so not even a year I've been streaming fully, but I've been
Nice.
playing competitively for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Just kind of at the start of Gen 9. When Gen 9 got released, I've always been a avid competitive gamer. I've played games like Dota, League of Legends, mostly MOBAs.
Yep.
World of Warcraft I was really big into for a while. But yeah, I've always played games competitively, so when I started playing Pokemon again, I was like, well, I'm not just going to do a playthrough team and that's it. I was like, I got to be number one on ladder, obviously. And still hasn't happened. I think the closest I've come is 4, and I think that was off of like when the new seasons just get released and you
Yeah.
have to do the back into Master Ball. And if you go on a streak right in, they usually place you like 2, 3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's super hard to maintain that. But generally I hang around in the top 200, so I'm pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, that's me in a nutshell, I guess, with Pokemon and what I'm doing with it now.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
sick. So you mentioned that you started in Gen 1, all the way back when you're a wee lad. Who was your starter? It seems silly to ask, but who was your starter?
It's fun. I've given a lot of thought to it because it's, what is it, like over 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Bulbasaur, even though like I'm a Wartortle fanatic. Like it was just
Yep.
my first exposure to the game. I obviously just kind of picked the one and did the playthrough and then kind of picked a favorite.
Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Bulbasaur, but like, I don't know. I just always kind of liked Wartortle. I think it was from the Poke Rap from watching the anime as a kid as well.
How good was that Poke Rap at the end of every episode?
Groundbreaking. Like, it was really well done. If you like, honestly, like it was well done. It's fun. It's still fun to this day.
I remember going to school and everyone was like, "Did you listen to the Poke Raps?" Like, yeah, man. You know, you try and recite it, and no one could get it right. It's like, we have to go back and listen to it now.
Yeah, we were all about. We had a little group of friends that had like the old school Game Boys that were like literally a brick, and you had to wire them together to battle. Yeah, and we had no ideas because EVs and IVs actually existed in Gen 1. Like
right.
They were very much hidden though. Like there was
they weren't accessible. You had no way of telling. But like like when you're doing a playthrough and you just are killing random things and you get random stats.
Yeah.
And then when it's maxed out, your tree looks like all whack. Like that was happening with every Pokemon in Gen 1, and we had no idea what we were doing. Obviously, I don't think anyone really did.
No.
But,
as long as your move did damage, you were doing well.
Yeah. Oh, those memes with like the 4 damage moves, that was me 100%.
Yep.
But
I used to cry when my cousin hit Protect in Gen 3, like Fire Red, Leaf Green. I'd say, let's have a battle, and he'd go, okay. And, I'd be spamming Thunder against his Articuno, and then he's hitting Protect, Protect, Protect. I'm like, stop protecting. Use attack moves only.
Yeah. Yeah, I got into TCG for a little bit when I was in high school as well, but yeah.
How did you find TCG?
It was good. I still got a lot of respect for it. One of the biggest issues I have with VGC in general is just RNG. It's tough to be competitive in a game that relies so heavily on RNG kind of thing. It's just difficult to express player skill.
That's 100% true. I think TCG has a bit of that element as well. Like you can play yourself into positions a lot easier, but there's still, I guess, the luck of the draw sometimes.
Yeah, and when you look at games like Magic the Gathering or other comparable card games, they don't have that like 6 cards that you put aside from your deck every game. Like and those are random 6 cards. So you can, I don't know, they probably have a term for it, but put good cards in that pile and that's your RNG. I get it, but it's more about the deck construction with that. Like you can be a really good team builder in VGC and get terrible RNG. Whereas you can be a really good deck builder in TCG, and I think that's most of the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, have you played other, I guess, going off course a little bit, other like TCG style games? Because you referenced Magic. Did you dive into like Yu-Gi-Oh or?
No, never Yu-Gi-Oh. My younger brother was into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep.
It was just coming out when I think I was like turning like 16, so I had other interests at that point, kind of thing.
Girls,
females.
Yeah, I had cemented the Pokemon in like the 13, 14. I think Yu-Gi-Oh started to get popular when I was like 16, and I never really got into it. But yeah, I played Magic the Gathering when I was in high school too. Like at the same time I was playing Pokemon, I was playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, nice.
I still think it's cool. Like the last regional, or not the last one, the one before that in Vancouver, it was in this massive conference center, and one of the rooms was Pokemon, and the one next door was Magic the Gathering. I popped in there, had a look. Yeah, just very different vibe. It's a lot darker, but but it was still cool. Like yeah, my younger brother, he plays like Warhammer 40K, like a tabletop and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, how good's Warhammer?
That's crazy. Like just the rule sets and the actual painting of it all. Like,
if you want some real RNG, Warhammer's where it's at.
Is there RNG? I don't actually know how to play. I see them roll tons of die, right?
Yeah, you got to get lucky with your rolls to try and position your troops properly. And if you don't get a good roll, you may be able to keep a good defensive line, but you're never going to be on the attacking foot.
I tried watching a Twitch stream of like some championship series of Warhammer, and it was fun to watch, but I was just like, nah, I don't know if I got the time to pick that hobby up.
Oh, it's a lot of time between the painting and it's just painting's what
takes
just
how competitive I am in general. Like I would want to have the nicest painted one, and I want to have the best army, and And it's not cheap. Like Pokemon's pretty pricey as it is. That
Oh
I
yeah,
think Warhammer 40K is a whole nother level. Like
yeah, it's expensive, and I think it's definitely more time consuming because just like having the patience and the time to paint all your models, and there's a good chance that you have more than one army. Like if you're into Warhammer, you probably have like at least 6 or 7 different armies that you've made to try.
How many factions are there?
I
Too many.
couldn't tell
Gotta be
you.
a lot. Gotta be a lot, right?
There's about 10 to 15 off the top of my head. I can name maybe 3, and that's because
I couldn't name any.
Cool.
But
you guys mind if I have a vape? I know I'm on camera.
No, go for it, bro. Go for it.
Go. All right. Thanks, boys.
So, I guess bringing it back to Pokemon, how did you find the transition? Obviously, being a competitive gamer in general, how did you find the transition with Pokemon going from casual into VGC? Was it challenging to, I guess, find your footing and then take it?
I would say I'm still learning, man. Like, to go from Gen 1 to Gen 9, and then, like, you know, priority brackets. Even I learned things like EVs and IVs during Gen 9, so, like, within the last year.
Yeah.
You know, typings I was kind of good at, but, like, things like Fairy, Dark, Steel I had never seen before, so...
that would throw a loop or a hole in the... spanner in the works.
I mean, like, it's the same with anything, you know, you just gotta do it. It was just by pure exposure. Like, I'm sure if I watch some clips of, a good example is in Showdown, or even in carts, just pulling up Pokemon that I had built, like, for, like, my first ladder teams and stuff, and, like, looking at their spreads and things. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like,
yeah.
But, like, the team building part's always been fun. I've always kind of been interested in off-meta things, whether that be in Dota or some of the other games that I've played. So, yeah, I always had kind of weird teams. I brought a meta team to my first regional and performed really well with it. So that's really where I kind of was like, all right, I'm okay at this. Because I remember walking into the regional and just kind of being like, there's no way I do well at this. Like, I'd never been to, like, an in-person competitive event like that before. So that's really where I was like, okay, like, yeah. And I remember I got E-speeded by a Dragonite. Like, I think it was whatever reg the ruins were first legal in.
C.
It was like,
C.
Yeah, I think C. And Chen Pao Dragonite was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really fully grasp the speed tier. I knew E-speed was like a upper speed tier, but I thought it was just like, you know, +1, 0, and -1, and that was it. And then I lost to an E-speed because I thought I was faster or something. And the guy explained it. He was super nice about it. He explained it to me. He's like, yeah, there's different speed tiers. Extreme speed's +3, blah blah. And I was like, oh shit. And he was so nice about it. Really kind of like was like, okay, not only do I think I'm actually okay at this game, the community is really positive as well.
Yeah.
So it was really after my first regional that I went to that I was like, let's do more with this than just being competitive and showing up to one regional. I was like, not these people, but like, the community is really nice. The Dota one's really toxic. The League of Legends one's really toxic.
Yep.
Watching streamers was a good way that I learned. You kind of back to the original question, like, you know, going from casual to competitive. In any video game, I think watching streamers is a good way of learn.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are trying to be competitive and not just, you know, doing it for the fun of it. So that's really where I started, and yeah. Yeah,
nice. I know you mentioned just before, actually not just before, but like probably a couple of minutes ago, in regard to how Gen 9 was your first introduction into quote unquote competitive.
Yeah.
You've come in with a really good generation for it as well, because 2 generations ago, I think it was Gen 7, when you're like attacking things, I think in the last 2 games or last 2 gens, it shows what's super effective and what's not. Whereas before then, you wouldn't know. Like there was no prompt saying this is going to be super effective or this is
really?
not. Yeah.
Even in Gen 1?
Correct. Like once you like, I'm pretty sure it was Gen 7 that introduced it.
Well,
for when
frankly,
you're
I'm
attacking.
not surprised.
I thought it was Gen 8.
Yeah, well, it could be.
Either
Gen 7 or 8, yeah.
I've heard all kinds of things like that, like, oh, you should have seen the way it used to be, or this.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard Wartortle used to have follow me. That's a dream of mine.
That might have been a Gen
Yeah.
7 because I remember seeing a couple of YouTube videos with the Wartortle follow me, and people just sit there like belly drumming or sword dancing and then just going from there and using essentially Wartortle how people use Magma and Electabuzz.
Yeah, just without the good ability.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately.
What's Wartortle's ability?
He gets Rain Dish or Torrent.
Ah, yes.
So I will say that. So I've been running Wartortle. I haven't run a team that's not Wartortle, except unless it was like a rental from a viewer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Since it became legal in Blueberry, so it's
Okay.
got to be at least 4 months, 5 months.
So
Probably longer than that now,
Has
actually.
it really
did
been
you
that
take
long?
it? Yeah, it has. It's crazy.
I think it's longer than that.
Time's flying.
That's ridiculous.
Did you take Wartortle to the regionals as well?
Yeah, I took him to the last Vancouver Regional. I've taken him to a couple of PCs as well.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah. So like, I'll tell you where it started. It started because he's my favorite Pokemon, and then when he became legal, there was like a week where like Blueberry was released, but it wasn't on the ladder yet, so you could catch him, but you couldn't bring him to the ladder. So I caught one, trained it like I wanted to, slapped an EV light on it, and brought him to the casual ladder. And my first matchup was against an Iron Hands, who was everywhere at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't do any calcs. I didn't check it against an Iron Hands or anything. I just like built it and threw it into a situation, and it naturally outspeeds Iron Hands by a lot, which I didn't even check, didn't even think about. But I beat him on the fake out, and then the next turn he wild charged that slot, and the Wartortle lived at like 40% HP, and I was like,
Whew.
Jeez.
that's kind of silly, right? Like he's faster than the current meta fake out user. He's living the current electric type user's biggest attack pretty comfortably. He's faster than him. Like I was just like, there's some, you could work with this. So I just kind of started doing stuff. It's right about when I started streaming, so it kind of gave me some traction because I was doing something a little bit different. And then I just leaned into it. Like I really built a team around the Wartortle. I do personally believe in its strength. It could be filled with a better slot. I could build a stronger team by dropping the Wartortle, but I don't. It's more fun for me as a player to play it. I do think it takes a lot of people by surprise because nobody really knows their Wartortle calcs, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it gets doubled by like really strong attacks that are just neutral damage and it lives through them, which my opponent was not expecting, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there is that, but it was very difficult in the regional. Going in, this is the regional was reg E, A B C D F E F.
Yep.
Yeah.
The restricteds weren't legal yet. I think it was the last one before the restricteds. So I had Wartortle, and Registeel was in my current Terrapago spot, and I had G-Zap, Raging Bull, Incineroar, and Rock Bond, I think. And the idea was Iron Defense, keep it alive with the Wartortle. But I knew I had a terrible Goldingo matchup, and my first 4 opponents all had Goldingo, and they all brought it, and they all identified it as a weakness. And because Registeel can't really touch Goldingo, the only really answer I had was Incineroar, and if you deal with the Incineroar, it was over. I can't yawn it. Wartortle couldn't do anything to it. And then my first 4 opponents, I went 0-4, and then I won my next 5, so I finished the day 5-4.
Yeah,
nice.
beautiful.
So like it's a good result, but like going 0-4 was pretty tough. I was just like, I started streaming. I had just met a bunch of other streamers. I met like Shattered Time. I met Rock.
Yeah.
That's a +1. There's a bunch of I briefly met Pengy. Just like there's like a lot of people. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the Wartortle. We're gonna get him on stream. And it's like boom, 0-4. I was like, oh crap. But I've won PCs with it. I've come in top 4 a few times. I just recently came in top 4 on the Wide League.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
To some heartbreaking. I usually top cut it. I think I've top cut it like 4 times in a row. I'll probably be doing Himmy's tour tomorrow, and I always get a super positive reaction, so it just encourages for me to run it more, kind of thing.
So do you find Wartortle adds a bit more pressure in terms of like the mental challenge that going into matches then? Because you mentioned the Gold Ingo matchup was tough, and then you went 0-4. Did you sort of burn out mentally because of it, or?
No, it at the time it kind of made me think, okay, like we tried, we did it, we brought it to a regional.
Yep.
It's harder than I thought it would be, and I kind of was ready to close the book on Wartortle and just get into being competitive with any team that I thought had the best chances. But during my time at the regional, I started thinking about Terrapagos. Because it was essentially fulfilling the same slot as Registeel, just had it. What Registeel will get walled by ghost types because you get +4 iron defenses. It can heavy slam or it can body press, and if it's a ghost type, nothing's really happening. Terrapagos, once it's teared, it hits everything for neutral, right? So it had no weakness. It was significantly tankier than Registeel. And then my brain just started going. I was like, oh god, am I gonna build another Wartortle team? And I did some testing, and the Wartortle performed better with the Terrapagos than it did with the Registeel, which makes sense because the Terrapagos is a stronger Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because of that, the Wartortle felt enabled. And I'm having more success with this team than I did the team that I brought to Vancouver.
Well, that's good.
I've evolved as a player as well. Like I've learned a lot. I've done coachings with John Zoo, with Gentle VGC.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said, like I said at the start of the question, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You know, like there's still a lot to learn, and the meta is ever evolving. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Touching on the meta, what's your opinion on the current one?
It's on ladder or like in regionals, like because closed team sheet, open team sheet metas, like.
Let's say both.
Okay. So for the ladder one, like when you get to high ladder, you see a lot of like teams that would show up on regional teams, but you will also see a lot of teams that are just complete cheese.
Yeah.
That are just like that make me hate playing ladder. That I'm just like there's nothing I could have done. You know, like I'm getting better at it, but then it puts a pressure on you to play around bizarre possibilities that like, you know, the game is all about managing risk, and like if you're managing for all risk, it becomes very difficult. But ladder can be frustrating in that sense. But the meta, the worst thing about the meta right now is Thunderwave Grimmsnarl for me. I can't stand it. I think paralysis is broken.
It was broken in Gen 8. I can
tell you how to fix it. I think it's an easy fix. I think you keep the speed debuff, but you give it like a 30% chance to power on the first turn, like a 15% power chance on the second turn, and like a 5 on the third, and then it's just the slow debuff. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? I think that would balance it. I think it's fair. I think it balances it, but...
Is it 70% accurate?
No, it's 90% accurate.
90?
90%. I think it's 90.
That's wild. I didn't know it was that high.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Right on good. I'm pretty sure it's 90. To hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 90% accurate to hit. And
it's
I'm
100%
sure
accurate to get it.
No,
parry,
like when you click Thunderwave, you have a 90% chance to hit Thunderwave, but then I think it's a 30% chance every turn once you're affected to be fully powered.
Right. Sorry, yeah. I thought you meant
bananas.
30% chance to like to actually just paralyze them in general.
Sorry. Where am I? Oh, there we are. But even freeze, you can unfreeze. Like para is just anyway. I think the meta is healthy to give you a proper answer. I think the player base, there's enough players that like there are new ideas and people do try new things, and I have a blast playing on casual ladder, watching what people are actually experimenting with.
Yeah.
I have a blast watching lower ladder matches because it just can be anything.
You love my streams, then. It's all low tier.
Yeah, it's fun to watch though, because it's like it's like when I go into casual ladder, it's just you can see some really cool stuff. Like you can see some things that you wouldn't have thought of. It's not all just like I'm gonna paralyze you and blow you up with Miraidon or something. Like there's some actual skill involved, and it's fun to watch. That's why I think like things like regulation A and B are like my favorite type of regulations, where it's like there is a lot of room for creativity there aren't
Size
just
spam.
completely broken Pokemon. Well, in Reg A with Size Spam, I ran a Terra Dark Ceruledge, and Indeedee Armarouge was everywhere, so I would lead the Ceruledge, Terra Dark bulk up, and I would get a free bulk because the Armarouge can't touch the Terra Dark Ceruledge.
Yeah.
It's immune to Psychic and it's immune to Fire. And that one was really, I don't recall Indeedee Armarouge ever being a thing. You know, I was like, oh, it's Indeedee, I'll bring the Ceruledge. Like,
Yeah. See, for
but
oh, sorry, you go.
yeah, go on. I was gonna say, like, they say it in like the regionals stuff. Like I think it's the Parisu little clip they do where they say every Pokemon has an answer. There's a Machamp one for the Mega Genghis Con.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. I do believe that, like, every kind of thing that goes on, there's always an answer for it. It might be super off meta, and it might, like, kind of not being talked about within the VGC community, but it probably does exist. Like, there's a way around it. So that's why I think the meta is pretty healthy. They do a surprisingly good job of balancing when you really consider all the factors involved.
Porygon 2 is great for this meta.
Not with Koraidon running around, I don't think he
Okay,
is.
I haven't played VGC for about 3 weeks, I'll be honest. So I was running a Cali Ice Porygon 2 team. And I wasn't encountering much Koraidon. A couple of Discord servers I'm in, everyone's like, Koraidon, U-turn, Koraidon, Koraidon, Koraidon. I'm like,
Does he get like Dark Pulse or something?
Foul Play.
Foul Play, yeah. So there you go. He could be a Cali S answer.
Yeah, so what I was doing is I had it as Terra Ghost. So, you know, if they let a fake out user or anything like that, you counter the fake out user, get the trick room up, and then you just sort of blitz from there.
Yeah, I kind of think that if you're tearing the Porygon, you're kind of already putting yourself on the back foot.
Which is true.
Kind of thing. Like, I'm very sacrificial with some of my Pokemon, like with Wartortle and stuff. Like, I would rather lose them than Terra. And like, it's not non-essential, you know, because you only get to bring 4. But there's so many times I've terraed, and I'm just like, you know, you Terra your Rillaboom or something, and it's like, oh, you didn't even freaking attack it. Like,
yeah, you go for the defensive Terra, and it just bones you. You're like, why did I do that? I don't know if you were in my stream on Tuesday. I think it was on Tuesday. I was talking about yesterday. I was just like, I've discovered about myself with VGC that I never go into battle and think about the end game. I always think about like the first like 3 or 4 turns, and if I send out a lead and it puts me on the back foot straight away because I've just chosen the wrong lead, I will always just like, I always think I need to keep something alive, so I Terra it for a defensive Terra, and then it screws me up in the end game because I'm not able to deal that extra bit of damage or
early Terras can be very good. You know? Like, I think we just saw in the regional Aurelian against the first time player at NAIC.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
He early terrored his Grimmsnarl to avoid a fake out and ended up winning that game, and it really was all because he was able to set up screens, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's something as huge as that, like setting up screens for your Terrapagos, I get it, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's all about managing risk, and if you terror early, you've kind of shown your hand.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's important to build teams with like backup plans that if you do lead wrong, you have like a hard switch you can just go into, or you have like a play that is kind of surprising, you know, like wood hammering first turn instead of faking out kind of thing. Like, that's why I kind of like the Wartortle, because he's durable. He gives me a lot of flexibility. If he's in front of something he doesn't like, I'm pretty confident he's going to live it. Like, if it's a Miraidon, I can fake it out kind of thing. I like having teams with a lot of flexibility, but sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's getting off track there.
No. That's perfect. That's, you know, what we're here for, to go off track and talk about how team compositions are and everything.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to it. I usually kind of build a team, and then I usually start with kind of like, especially now in a restricted format, I think it's very important to start with the restricted. And I'm learning this all on the fly because I've never played competitively or in any generation other than 9. So yeah. But you start with a restricted, you kind of build around it. I picked my favorite Pokemon to tag along and then built around that. And then usually I'll just kind of slap some things together in Showdown, kind of cover for different weaknesses, strong Pokemon. Right now I'm running Wartortle, Terrapagos, Fluttermane, Chiyu, strong Pokemon, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, strong Pokemon.
Yep.
And then just kind of play test it. Just see what works, see what doesn't. A lot of the ways I do my calcs is that I'll get one shot by something, and I'll be like, oh, I don't like that, and then immediately go to Showdown and see how much it would take to actually live that, and then go from there. Or I'll just start with like the highest possible damage, like a collision course from a Koraidon in the sun onto the Terrapagos. Like,
yeah, wow.
If you can benchmark that, you can live a close combat from an Urshifu kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You can go from there. And then if you can't live that, then you go to the close combat from an Urshifu, and then just accept your fate that if you are presented with the collision course in the sun with no shell up kind of thing, you're going to die. You got to switch, you got to do something. But it gives you the information that you need to make that call. You're not like, oh, I hope I live. It's like, I play test it, I know I die, and then I say, can I live it? And then if the answer is yes, I figure out if it's feasible.
Yep.
Check if I can still do the damage that I want to be doing. If something becomes a 2-hit KO, then accept that. Oh, I don't one-shot that anymore. I got to do this.
See, that's one thing I like going back to Porygon too. Is again, I haven't come up against Koraidon, but there are certain Pokemon where you go, I know, because I'm running Sword and Shield builds for Porygon 2 still, which I know can survive. Choice Band Rillaboom can survive, your Incineroars and all that sort of stuff. So for me, I go,
for sure,
I know I can set Trick Room off, or again, when it comes to terroring, I know I mentioned I terror Ghost if I'm against a Fake Out user, but if I'm pairing it next to my Cali Ice, I have both of them as Trick Room setters. So, you can almost goat them into faking out at least one of them, and then still getting.
I'd be worried about like the Miraidon calc, like Terror Electric Electro Drift.
I bring in DD so I can change the terrain.
I would do something like if I was running Porygon, the first thought that comes to mind is to put a Fluttermane on that team. It could even be like a slow Trick Room Fluttermane.
Sure.
3 Trick Room setters is a lot, but it gives you the swap in to take the close combat or the collision course or something.
Yeah.
And then it also immediately pressures whatever fighting type is throwing fighting types, moves that direction.
That's not bad.
That's what I mean, kind of like with the having a backup plan sort of thing. Like, okay, I don't like this lead. It doesn't happen all that often. How can I put a strong Pokemon to cover that weakness kind of thing? And then the Porygon kind of covers your Fluttermane weakness because Fluttermane isn't that great into a Cali S. Unless you're running like Shadow Ball, or even then you'd probably have to tear the Flutter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Terra normal Fluttermane.
I think all Pokemon really have, not all Pokemon, but like the vast majority of them have a capability of being relevant in the meta.
Yeah.
Maybe not like the direct meta, but at least kind of making a push for a high ranking. You could bring them to a good spot within the ranking. You just got to build a team around it, and you got to build it smart, and you got to know what it's able to do and where it has difficulties and where it actually excels at, kind of thing.
Yeah, for real. Just taking a quick left turn here to back in November last year when you first started streaming. It was November, yeah? I thought you said
November, December, something like that. It was.
Yeah. What was the?
Yeah.
What was your initial did you? How am I going to word this? What was your influence to start streaming, basically?
It was, I mean, same as most streamers. I think it's always an idea that I had that it would be fun to do. Like I say, I play a lot of video games, usually team-based games, but like kind of, always by myself, essentially. You're communicating with your teammates, but it was a social experience, but I would find myself watching streamers and saying like, that's fun. I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Why not? Right? Why not? Everyone's got to start somewhere. So I got the capture card. I wasn't sure about my laptop. It ended up working. I'd like to kind of upgrade my setup, but it's doing great. And then I just started having fun with it. The first stream I did, I'll back up a little bit because I got involved in the Twitch community first. I started, being more active in chats and joining Discords and becoming acquainted with other streamers. And then it just kind of reinforced my already strong opinion that it was a great community. And then once I kind of became known in the community, which was kind of fun, because I would join viewer battles, and I wasn't running Wartortle at this point, but
Yeah.
it started because I wanted to pit myself up against streamers, and see how that went, and then I was like, hey, I can do this myself, and then I started streaming, and then the streamers that I had become friends with started rating me. I started building kind of like a little community. And then the first time, and I love doing it. I think that's the main thing. Is that after my first stream, I think I streamed every evening for the first 2.5 weeks straight, maybe
Yep.
longer than that. Um, it was just like I would go to work and be excited to come home to stream, and I was like, and it didn't really sink in. Like I didn't really think of myself as a streamer up until the last regional where I met up with Shattertime and Rock,
Yeah.
and two of my opponents recognized me. They saw the team obviously, and they're like Wartortle, and they looked at me and they're like, "You're TayOpkMn," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, I've seen your stream before, and I was like, "That's freaking crazy, man."
Yeah.
But yeah, like I still don't really consider myself like a big streamer or like even like a streamer. I recently had a tough week and I took a few days off, and
Yeah.
uh, it wasn't like something that I was like I miss doing it, but I was at the same time like it's not a huge obligation in my life right now, essentially.
We
to
had
be
this very
blunt
similar
about it.
chat to Shattered about it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, where we were mentioning, taking nights off and everything. You feel bad for the community, but then at the end of the day, you go, well, I got to worry about me as well and my health and
yeah.
everything like that.
I think a big part is just being communicative about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had like a set schedule on my thing, and then I took it off, or on my Twitch, excuse me, because I wasn't showing up on time to those days, and I was like, I get it, I say I'm gonna be there, and I have fun doing it. I imagine the viewers have fun watching, and if I say I'm gonna be there, it's like, oh well, you said there would be fun. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, I get it. I get it for sure. And even me, like when I'm watching a streamer as well, and they're not on today. Oh, and then there's no one else on that you watch, and you're kind of like, oh well, damn.
Yeah.
But
Guess I'll go
but
outside and
yeah,
touch some grass.
but yeah, like it is what it is at the end of the day, right? Like in the future, like I do see myself being more consistent with it. I'm trying to organize my day-to-day life schedule so that it incorporates well with it.
Yeah.
But with under the Pokemon umbrella, I think going to regionals and being more competitive there is a higher priority for me. I think, and this is just kind of the way I'm thinking about it, is that I don't think I have an unsuccessful stream. I'm actually blown away by the support and where I've been able to bring it in essentially a short amount of time. But I think like I would have a more successful stream if I had higher placements at regional as well, and kind of was getting on stream at the regionals and placing higher than I have been. And part of that is honestly bringing the Wartortle. So I think I'm gonna do more kind of like of a streaming thing where I run Wartortle and kind of focus on fun, different content like that. And
Yeah.
then when I go to regionals, bring a competitive meta
Yeah.
team kind of thing and try to do that. And I think the two of those will kind of work very well off of each other. And then if I win something major, you can guarantee that I'm going to bring a Wartortle somewhere. But I want to get some accolades first before I really focus on the streaming portion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, when I first started playing, I wanted to be number one. I wanted to win something, and I don't feel like that job's done yet. I've won a few online tours. I've done won a few PCs. I think I had like 90 points for the 500 I needed for Worlds, but I didn't. I went to one regional, didn't place, and won a few PCs. But I want to go to Worlds next year. Essentially, is what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. That's the
So I
goal.
think once I accomplish that goal, then I can kind of sit back and yeah, I don't know. See, I think it'd be a lot nicer to be like world difference. I won't say world champ difference.
Yeah.
Because I think that's very difficult. I think Pokemon's a very difficult game to win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like two evenly matched trainers. It is actually a duke. Like it's a slugfest really.
And then the RNG
And-
comes into
And
it.
then the RNG, and then the RNG, right? So not only do you have to be like really good at it, you have to be very lucky at it. So
Yep.
it is a high goal that I've set with a very high standard player that enters that kind of tournament.
Oh, definitely.
But it's fun though. It's fun. And
Yeah, for sure.
why not?
So Before we start to wrap things up, obviously your favorite Pokemon's Wartortle. What was the origin? Did you mention the origin of that? Like, why Wartortle?
Yeah, just personal choice. I don't know.
Yeah, just think he looks dope.
Yeah, I think he looks dope. And and I never think I finished the point. Actually, it was from the Poke Rap. And then we started talking about the Poke Rap.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I distracted you there.
It's okay. It's a great rap, but it's the way the rapper says Wartortle. You know, he goes, Charmeleon, Wartortle.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought that was dope. Like, it was always the part that I emphasized when I was singing it, like along at home when I was like, I don't know, maybe 12 years old, but yeah, during the break from Gen 1 to Gen 9, it's not like I didn't like Pokemon in between. Like, I think I might have bought like a plush pop or whatever they're called of Pokemon, and
Yep.
my ex was like, "Oh, you like Pokemon or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." And we started and I'd always say that my favorite Pokemon was Wartortle to people that would ask me, even though I didn't play any of the current generations.
Yeah.
And it was true. I don't know. It was just a personal opinion. It was the way the guy said it, and it was just, I was a kid, and he was like, "Which is your favorite?" And I was like, "That one."
Yeah. Nice. I love Wartortle. I really wish that they had kept with a similar design for Blastoise. Like, he had his really cool ears, he had a really cool tail, and then they just straight up dropped him.
I don't hate Blastoise. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate Blastoise. I don't think there's any Gen 1 Pokemon I don't have love for.
Yeah.
Weedle.
Even the silly ones.
Caterpie.
Weedle, yeah, Weedle's great. They serve their purpose. They're great. They evolve. They got 3 stages. Metapod's a great evolution.
Yeah.
Butterfree's a great evolution. I saw you guys playing Pokerogue. Butterfree is pretty good to bring.
Is it?
Like, especially.
I've got like 20 shinies now. I was telling Chocolate on my flight from Brisbane to Perth and back. I was able to get 13 shinies. Like, just hatching eggs.
So maybe you're past it now. I think I got to like maybe 6 shinies.
Yep.
And I just kind of lost interest in the game. Anyway, I won't get into that. But it's good for the start because like it eventually learns like Quiver Dance and stuff. So it's like you can set up a Quiver. You know how the levels work.
Yeah.
Like you keep your buffs. Quiver Dance is a great buff. And then it learns sleep powders if you want to go on a run and like catch Pokemon and stuff, and you want like a fast sleep user.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had a great time with Butterfree, and yeah, I'm defending Weedle. I think Beedrill was also fun in Pokerogue, but yeah, any 151 I got love for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, that's awesome.
I think they did an okay job in Gen 9 going from one to the other. I believe at this point it's hard to come up with original ideas.
Oh, 100%.
Looking at things like Eternatus, I hate that design.
It's just a hand.
Flamigo's a right in. Like, they didn't put much thought behind that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like Eternatus, it just looks like they kind of went too much in like a Final Fantasy direction. But
I love Final Fantasy.
I think the starters are good this year. Yeah, I like it too, but I also like Pokemon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think the starters are pretty good. I think the legendaries so far have been pretty good. I think Miraidon and Koraidon are great designs. The Future Paradox I think is a great idea. The Terra I think is a great idea. I never played with Mega Evolutions or any of that, so this is the first gimmick I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And seeing their track record where they drop the gimmicks every generation and come up with a new one, I'm really curious. If they do, because they're kind of, in my opinion, I think they kind of struck gold, but they're probably gonna. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because we're still like a couple of. I mean, we're definitely not going to get like a new gimmick next year unless we do by the end of next year, maybe.
Not in ZA. They're going back to Mega Evolution in ZA. I didn't play Legends of Arceus either, so I'm really excited to play that. I'll be playing that on stream 100%. Probably the most fun I've had on stream is a tie between doing really well in tours on stream and doing the Blueberry playthrough.
Yeah, wow.
On stream.
Oh yeah.
The most fun I've had was doing like a playthrough like of a story mode in the game that I play competitively with my viewer base who know me as the same game kind of thing, you know? Like it wasn't like I was doing like a Call of Duty stream kind of thing, right? It was a change of pace, and I thought it was so much fun. I thought the DLCs are actually really good too. It helped that the Blueberry DLC was actually really fun.
It did.
To begin with.
I think the Blueberry DLC was miles ahead of the Kitakami
Kitakami.
Yeah, there was just a lot more you could do. And I guess it's the same with the previous games as well. When the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra came out, there was so much more you could do in the second DLC than in the first.
I didn't think they did a poor job on Kitakami. I just think they did a great job on Blueberry. And I'll leave you guys with this. Leave you guys with a little not conspiracy, but theory that I have.
Oh, we like a good theory.
That there will be another DLC for Pokemon Scarlet Violet, DLC 3, if you will, even though the first one was 1. But the reason I think this is because if you look at just the vanilla game, like you don't have the DLCs bought, the loading screen is the sun.
Yeah.
Right? Just in the window, right? Just like it's like you're the bird chirping and the sun is just rising, right? And then when you do Kitakami, when you download the Kitakami DLC, the splash screen, the sun is in like the noon sky, like it's right up in the sky. And then now if you go check the splash screen in the Blueberry, the sun is just setting. It's orange. It's like just setting.
Huh.
And then not soon after they released Blueberry, they released the secret gift code, New Moon is Coming, that gave you a Darkrai.
Yeah.
Right? And the code was New Moon was Coming. So if you go like sunrise, daytime, sunset, New Moon is Coming, I'm thinking they're dropping breadcrumbs saying the final one will be the sun set at night, and it'll be kind of like a Darkrai, maybe a bit darker than usual story. It's Pokemon. I don't think it's going to be like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I was just thinking, wasn't Darkrai found on New Moon Island in Gen 4?
Oh, see, I don't know
remember
that information. If it was, maybe I'm just.
I'm not trying to disprove it. Just in my head, I'm like, was it New Moon Island?
Because the code, was it just New Moon or was it New Moon is Coming? I'm pretty sure it was New Moon is Coming.
Yeah, New Moon is Coming. I honestly, I believe that you're onto something there because they haven't announced another game per se other than ZA, but because Legends Arceus didn't have the competitive scene in it, I honestly believe that this new one also won't have that competitive scene.
No, I don't think ZA is going to be competitive at all. I think the life cycle of Scarlet Violet, from Nintendo's standpoint, is supposed to last well into the life cycle of Pokemon ZA.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably launch Switch 2 and release Gen 10 on that.
Yeah.
So if you look at the life cycle of Pokemon Scarlet Violet and where we are now and where it theoretically is planned to go to, which I think is like mid-life cycle of Pokemon ZA, it's a lot of time, really.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
There's a lot of
half,
time, yeah.
maybe, right? And how much regulation are you really going to change? We're already at single restricted. You had dual restricted in August at the end of Worlds.
Yep.
And that leaves you probably like a full year, right, after that. And the last thing they should do, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did, let it stagnate like that, but I don't think they do. I think they release a DLC.
So I know for Sword and Shield, they changed the meta from dual restricted to anything goes.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which was just mental. Sorry, circling back to New Moon Island, it was the home of Darkrai in the northwestern part of Sinnoh.
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe the island's coming.
Maybe it could be that big shadowed out area on the top of the map, top right hand side.
Of the Scarlet Violet map?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah,
could be.
Maybe Paldea is actually really close to Sinnoh, and it's just right there.
Exactly. Again, not trying to disprove it. I love the idea, and I guess want to add to it. Maybe that island at the top right that we can't get to could be something in relation to New Moon Island or to do with the new moon.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Just before we get things wrapped up, though, other than making worlds, do you have any other, I guess, content goals for the future, or just, or even personal goals you want to share? Like anything popping off in the world of Teo?
Like they're kind of intertwined, to be honest. Personal goal to make worlds. Personal goal is that I want to buy an RV and travel around North America, go into the different regionals, and potentially do like a streamer on the road kind of thing.
Yes.
and then that'll give me access to more regionals, better chance of earning points, more exposure. Like streaming wise, a couple goals there are just to kind of refine it. I've been learning as I go. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my outro, but I'd never done any video editing. And
the credits,
the not Benny Lava, but the Tanuk with the Wartortle head and the Terrapagos head. Yeah.
I think I caught it on today's stream.
Yeah, I do it at the start and the end of every stream, and it's my third one. I've built one for every team that I've really stuck with. I usually build one team, refine it, but it doesn't really change much with Mons. Yeah. So I had the original Wartortle one. I had one for Toxicity. That was just like a System of a Down song with Toxicity going.
Yeah, nice.
But it's been fun, like learning how to video edit and stuff like that. So I want to get better at that and do some YouTube content, refine the stream, get better reward systems, just kind of give back to the community that supported me for this long. And I'm still blown away when I have like an active chat kind of thing. I'm just like, holy smokes, you guys chose here to hang out. Like,
yeah,
I'm just here mucking around, vaping in my spare time, you know.
Yeah,
it's great. So personal goal would be to like refine it, because like I do feel like I have created something. And yeah, that personal goal would be to get life in order to get in the RV and drive around North America.
That's a sick idea, though.
Sick. I love the idea of being like a streamer on the road, working his way around to the different regionals, living his best life. That sounds. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. Sounds like the dream.
It's a great way to travel as well. You know, like why not? Like use it as an excuse to. I'm from North America, and I haven't seen a big portion of the United States. Is such a big country with so many different places and so many things to offer. Like,
yeah,
go check it out, and then tell the grandkids. Yeah, travel around North America playing Pokemon.
In an RV. That's
Gen 15.
We love that. Nice. All right, well, we've been talking for about an hour, which is crazy to think.
It's gone so quick.
But we will head to wrap things up here. But Tayo, where can the people find you?
On Twitch. That's my main platform. Twitch.com. Yeah, .com. I've actually never verbally. Yeah, twitch.tv/TayOpkMn, TayOpkMnVGC. And that's really all I got. I don't have a Twitter. I have an Instagram, but like a personal one. If you want to follow me there, I'm Skidlife.
Nice.
That'll be just pictures of the mountains and my dog and me snowboarding.
Yeah, that's sick.
Pokemon content. Pokemon content is twitch.tv/TayOpkMnVGC.
Very good.
PKMN.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute hoot actually getting to speak with you.
Thank you guys. That was a great
personal
because I've only ever I've only ever been in chat, or you've been in my chat or whatever. But yeah, getting to know you on a different level, it's been really good. For those,
it's been great, guys. For me as well. I really appreciate you guys having
me. Anytime. We might get you back for some conspiracy theory videos or recordings.
Yeah. I'll start cranking the gears. I'll figure something out.
I'll bring the tinfoil hat.
Beat me to it. I was going to say that. Bring you tinfoil.
I can't change this hat, mate.
That's true. That's true.
Tinfoil on this one.
Anyways, though, for those listening on iTunes and/or Spotify, feel free to leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars, obviously.
5 stars.
And if you can, subscribe or follow us on those platforms as well. The video will also be up on YouTube. You can find us on youtube.com/Jubilife City Radio.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube video. It helps the algorithm. Even if you say Cocoa for Day smells or chocolate to best, leave a comment. We will actively respond to them either on our own YouTube accounts or on the Jubilife City. And let's have some banter in the comments. Bring it on.
We do love banter. But yeah, that pretty much wraps things up. Thank you all so much for listening to us talk into your ear holes. We'll be back in a fortnight with, I don't know if we have another guest or it'll be just the two of us, but we will sort something out by then. Thank you all so much. And Tayo, once again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing. And
Thanks so much, guys.
Talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.